I'd like to give you a little brief history of Bhante's building the center, the status of the center now, and the status of TWIM in the world, and just kind of giving you that perspective. Okay, so let me begin with a little history. Bhante Vimalaramsi was a layperson, and then in the 80s he decided to go to Asia, become a monk, and to immerse himself in the study of the Buddha's teaching and in very intensive meditation. And he did that for 14 years. He was in Thailand, he was in Burma, primarily those two places. And then, near the end of his stay there, he was in Malaysia, teaching and staying at a large Buddhist monastery in Kuala Lumpur. Occasionally, he had 1,000 people listening to his talks. So, at that time, he developed the basic principles of the TWIM practice. And he decided that he really wanted to bring that to the United States. And not only bring that to the United States, but to teach it to lay people. That is not very usual in Asia. In Asia, they don't teach meditation very much to lay people. And because of that, coming back here to an environment that is not supportive of monks, we don't have a tradition here to support monks. But he really had the compassion, and he really had the desire, and he really had the vision of being able to teach people the Buddha's path and to teach people how to relieve their suffering. So he came back, and in about 2003 or 4, it was with donations, because a monk lives completely on donations. With donations, he was able to purchase this piece of land. And he started building the center one log at a time. As donations came in, he would make the next building, he would build the next building, and then eventually he had sufficient donations to build this beautiful Dhamma hall and to build the kitchen and dining facility. And with his own hands and another monk, they built that log cabin that we sit in when we do the interviews. So then about 2010, David joined Bhante as a full-time resident here, and he started to bring the teachings onto the internet with the talks that Bhante was giving, and he, that was the beginning of spreading it out on the internet. A couple years later, Kirsten came to the center and became a full-time resident here, also to assist in managing and in building this very nurturing environment. So during the winters, the weather can be pretty harsh here. So at those times, he was called to do retreats in other places in the world. So he did retreats in California. He did retreats in Indonesia, Korea, Australia, Europe, and he even did one retreat in Kazakhstan. So, and that was very, very strenuous. First of all, to get to Kazakhstan, and second of all, to be in an environment where it was not really a Buddhist country. So, from these trips, he often got very generous donations, because in some of the countries the people were very used to giving dana to the monk, and they would receive great merit from giving dana to the monk. So that was a practice that they were used to, and that they did with Bhante. So Bhante, as you know, left this world 2 years ago. And since that time, things have changed a bit. First of all, we don't have his presence. And there is no longer a monastery here. There is just a retreat center. So we have Bhante's ashes in the stupa, and we also have a sort of a memorial cabin where he used to live. So when you go down to the bottom of the hill here, instead of turning right to the chickens, you turn left and go into the monastery area. And if you haven't been there yet, the first cabin on the right is Bhante's cabin. And you're welcome to go in there and to see the different accoutrements that he has, the different photographs. You're welcome to sit there. It's a very nice energy. You're welcome to sit there. People have had some amazing sittings in that cabin. So there's not a lot of time, but there is some time for you to do that if you so desire. Also, I want to let you know that there are other TWIM centers in the world. There's a very large TWIM center in Indonesia. One of Bhante's senior students lives in Indonesia, and so she has developed a great following of the TWIM practice in Jakarta, and she also does retreats in Bali, I believe. There is a TWIM center in Argentina. There's a TWIM center in India. And there is a TWIM center in Bangladesh. So the TWIM practice is spreading. And in all of these centers, the primary focus is to bring this teaching to the lay people. So following Bhante's death, David and Kirsten took up the great challenge to keep Dhamma Sukha intact and continue to provide a nurturing and loving environment for people to see for themselves how to let go of suffering and experience relief and happiness. From our interviews, it looks like the mission is still intact, I would say. So we would like to have it go forward, and the center still, even without a monk, subsists only on donations alone. So many people are used to donating to monks, but not so much to lay teachers. They don't feel that they're getting the merit that they would if they donated to a monk. But I want you to know that there are many unseen expenses in keeping this facility functional. The staff, the grounds, the building upkeep, the power, we're using a lot of power here, And during the winter, when nobody is here on retreat, we still have to have power going in order to, for instance, have the Dhamma hall continue to be a good environment. The water, the septic, the many machines and tools needed for all that. And the daily retreat rate barely covers basic room and board now. David and Kirsten have tried to keep the rate as low as possible so that people can avail themselves of this wonderful experience. But it's not enough, and the money is not, and the daily rate is not really a money-making endeavor. So it's very difficult to present the needs of Dhamma Sukha to our retreaters. We wish there was a bottomless fount of resources that would provide for the facility. With no need to worry and no concern, people can come, be here. Everything is wonderful. However, that is not the reality. Which brings me up to the topic of generosity. Now, generosity is the act of giving happiness to another. In the act of giving, the recipient experiences happiness from the gift. And the giver experiences happiness, the altruistic joy of giving a gift. So, both experience an uplifted state of mind and happiness. So if you have contemplated giving a donation to Dhamma Sukha, I know some of you have approached me and asked about it. So if you have contemplated a gift to Dhamma Sukha, to facilitate the teaching continuing, reflect on the benefit you have gained from being here in this loving and nurturing environment, to delve into the recesses of your own mind, to see how it works. You've learned about the hindrances you have for true happiness, the 6 R's of how to let go of those hindrances, and the feeling of relief of letting go of those hindrances. You have learned how to generate metta for yourself and others. You have put down some burdens and felt the joy of release. And you have learned that this can be an all-the-time practice. As you have availed of this for yourselves, you may wish to give this same gift to others. So, I invite you to feel the joy of giving to a worthy endeavor such as Dhamma Sukha, with an open heart. To keep that feeling going, you might even consider becoming a monthly donor. We truly appreciate your courage to spend 8 days just with yourselves, with your mind and with your body, to see, feel, and experience the inner workings, particularly of your mind. As you know, in this day and age, this is a monumental feat, isn't it? Okay, so Kirsten is going to explain the particulars of the giving practice, and then after that, I will read the 6 sets of 6 sutta.